You are listening to Take Back with Zac, where we cover the hottest topics in the sporting world, including deep dives into the greatest teams to ever exist, the Lakers, the Chargers, and the Anaheim Angels. Ugh. Angels fans are so mad at me right now. I posted a take about, like, hey, it's not, the hook was like, what's going on with the Angels is not Artie Moreno's fault. Even though it all is Artie Moreno's fault, I use that as, like, the hook. Brother, everyone just heard that part, went straight to the comments and said, you don't know ball, you're a loser. You have no idea what's going on. Watch the whole video and then come talk to me. It's so annoying, bro. It's okay, though. It happens. You know what I mean? I'm out here, like, having good hooks and stuff that get people to watch the video. Just, it's supposed to get you in, a little appetizer, get you in the door, a little 2-for-1 special. And then you're watching the clip and you're like, all right, okay, maybe he knows what he's talking about. But most people do not have deductive reasoning skills. Tune in every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. And then every night following NBA playoff games. Yes, the playoffs. The conference finals games have arrived on our doorstep like a stork with a baby, delivering joy, excitement, fear, and envy as the Final Four teams go head-to-head in what is shaping up to be one of the greatest conference finals in NBA history. The Spurs and the Thunder play again tonight after the double OT thriller and truly asinine 41-22 rebound game from the Flying Frenchman, the Eiffel Tower, the Baguette and Taggett, the Move It or Louvre It, the alien Victor Wembanyama. The question for you, the listener, which we're going to be answering later in today's show, is Wemby good or bad for the game? Interesting. Is Wemby good or bad for the game of basketball? I do not know, so we'll be answering that later in today's show. Speaking of bad for the game, it appears that Liv Golf is going belly up as the Saudi investment fund has pulled funding from the Golf League after sinking over $5 billion into something that nobody ever watched. Bad investment, brother. Congrats to the Sultan of Saudi Arabia for trying to get us to forget about the civil rights atrocities happening daily in your country, marked by Islamist extremism and true hate for fellow humans around the world. I wish I said that without stuttering. You suck. You loser. Take the L. I wonder what is going to happen to all of the players that jumped ship and left the PGA in lieu of untold riches and complete irrelevance. Maybe we can ask James Harden for advice, a guy who is quite used to jumping ship. Harden and the Cavs collapsed last night in epic fashion against the New York Knicks in what has to be one of the most embarrassing moments in the history of Ohio, a state chock full of nominees. Not to be outshined by the spotlight on the NBA, though, Stephen A. Smith decided to verbally threaten Jaylen Brown with journalism live on cable TV. The spat began with Stephen A. Smith saying something stupid, Jaylen Brown clapping back on Twitch, and now Stephen A. is threatening to actually do his job and do some real reporting on the situation rather than just grabbing a mic and spewing nonsense. Kind of like what I do. I've learned from the best. Thanks, Stephen. Rashid Rice is going to jail. LSU basketball is poaching the G League. The NHL Conference Finals are underway. Tennis is off to Roland Garros. And Aaron Rodgers is set to retire after this season. I have so many notes on the first two games of the conference finals, and I cannot wait to get into them and open up the phone lines to hear from you, the fan. But first, we begin this show the same way every single day, and that is with the verse of the day. Today's verse comes to you from Romans chapter 15, focusing in right here on verse 2. We should help others do what is right and build them up in the Lord. Amen. For even Christ didn't live to please himself. As the scriptures say, the insults of those who insult you, O God, have fallen on me. Such things were written in the scriptures long ago to teach us, and the scriptures give us hope and encouragement as we wait patiently for God's promises to be fulfilled. Patiently. May God, who gives this patience and encouragement, help you live in complete harmony with each other, as is fitting for followers of Christ Jesus. Then all of you can join together with one voice, giving praise and glory to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen, brother. In addition to the verse of the day, we also do the movie of the day. Today's movie of the day, Wes Anderson classic, Moonrise Kingdom. This was one of the first movies I watched, and I was like, that's a movie. You know what I mean? You know, like you watch Homeward Bound, or you watch Monsters, Inc., Monsters University, you're like, yeah, that's cinema. I like that kind of stuff. You watch Cars, you're like, wow, ka-chow. But then I watched this movie. My sister showed it to me. Shout out to my sister. She rocks. Love you. God bless you, sis. Not going to say her name. What am I saying? I watched this movie and I was like, wow, that's art. That's what movies could be like. I want to make something like that. And then I realized Wes Anderson is kind of lame. Moonrise Kingdom, set on an island off the coast of New England. Patriots suck. In the summer of 1965, let's go, Woodstock. Moonrise Kingdom, Woodstock? Is that what it was called? Woodstock. Moonrise, it was 1969 too, I believe. Woodstock. Moonrise Kingdom tells the story of two 12-year-olds who fall in love. Oh, this is inappropriate. Make a secret pact and run away together into the wilderness. Whatever happened to these two child actors, by the way? They were fantastic in this film. I don't know if I've seen anything from these two child actors. I say that, and then it's like, oh, they were on Broadway for the past 3 years, like playing a lion. I'm like, all right, okay, who cares? Broadway sucks. I'm out on plays. They're cool. I used to do plays. I used to do theater. I'm an actor myself. Hello. Yeah, plays are lame. As various authorities try to hunt them down, a violent storm is brewing offshore, and the peaceful island community is turned upside down in every which way. Bruce Willis, tough. Prayers up for Bruce Willis and his family, man. Tough, dude. Very, very sad. Dementia. Bruce Willis plays the local sheriff, Captain Sharp. Edward Norton is a Khaki Scout troop leader, Khaki Scout leader. Scoutmaster Ward, Bill Murray and Frances McDormand, shout out to her. 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, one of the best movies ever made. Portray the young girl's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bishop. The cast also includes Tilda Swinton, the Wicked Witch of the West. No, she was in Narnia. Jason Schwartzman and Bob Balaban, and introduces Jared Gilman and Kara Hayward as Sam and Susie, the boy and the girl. That's who it is. Jared Gilman and Kara Hayward. Shout out to them for being child actors. I kind of think both these series are going to go 7. Slade, I cannot wait to hear more of your thoughts as we jump into it in today's Power Hour. Last night, brother, between you and me, that was one of the most epic collapses in the history of basketball, as it was 93-71 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Knicks finished the game on a 44-11 run to force overtime and ultimately win the game by double digits. See, man, this right here, this is why you don't gamble, okay? This is a PSA to every young man out there who's like, maybe I should put $100 on my DraftKings sportbook. The line last night was 7. So if you took Cavaliers +7, you were cruising the entire game. Every Cavs +7 bettor was cashing in their tickets last night, and then a historic collapse, more tragic than the Trade Center, sent all those dog-taking degenerates home with their tail tucked between their legs. They lost the game by 11, and all of those bets did not cover. Because the game doesn't end at OT. The game doesn't end in regulation. It doesn't end till the fat lady sings. Why? Who? Where is she? Who was she? Who was the first ever lady to be like, hey, I am large and I'm the one who's going to call the game? And they're like, okay, let's give it to her. I woke up in the middle of the night last night screaming, thinking about how the Cavs let Jalen Brunson play iso ball on James Harden for 17 straight possessions. Jalen Brunson had 11 points in a row for the Knicks to get the lead down to 5. Then Evan Mobley hit a huge 3 to stop the 15-1 run and get the lead back to 8 with 3 minutes left. We have a guy in the show. His name is Blake. He's one of the best listeners, best callers that we have in TBWZ. He's a loyal member of the Veenie's Weenies. He might even be a commander of Veenie's Weenies. One day, he'll be sitting high on his horse, leading us to the Battle of the Bastards like we saw last night on Game of Thrones. I'm rewatching Game of Thrones. Shout out to Jon Snow. The body's piling up in that scene. Brother. When he's about to get trampled and he's suffocating, scary. It reminds me of when Beatrix Kiddo punched her way out of the grave and was like, does that make any sense at all? Whoa, I look so jacked right there. Goku fan is also a top listener of the show, absolutely. But Blake hopped into the chat, 18-point lead. He's like, this game is over. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. They look pretty rusty. And then New York did that thing to the Cavs, bro. Mikal Bridges, bro, shout out to you. You have been getting dogged by every single member of the media and every single New Yorker that dons the black and blue. Black and blue? The blue and orange. I was about to say blue and gold. I went full UCLA. First, I went, what teams are black and blue? Sabres? Utah State? Yeah. Bro, everyone was so mad at you this entire postseason run saying you can't shoot, you're a waste of 5 picks. He hit 2 of the biggest threes back-to-back to cut the lead back down to 3. And then, of course, everyone had this one, right? Landry Shamet hitting the game-tying three-pointer. Landry Shamet. James Harden hit a shot after that to take a 2-point lead, but then, of course, Brunson gets inside and ultimately ties the game at 101 and sends this thing to overtime. Bro, the Cavaliers scored 11 points in the last 13 minutes of the game. They had a 22-point lead with 8 minutes left in the game. You had no answers on the offensive end as everyone seemed to just be chucking up threes due to Spida getting completely clamped at that end on defense. All sat... Well, that's just the worst written sentence of all time. I just ran out of gas completely. You had such a good game plan for the Cavaliers offensively. It was all working. 8 minutes left in the game, you started doing a hack and Mitch thing. You started slowing down the pace. You started really just trying to drain the clock out. And New York kept pushing. And when it was time for you to step up on offense, your guys weren't there. Bro, the whole game was just, at the end, watching Jalen Brunson cook you like he's on Hell's Kitchen. Donovan Mitchell was 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter and overtime, while James Harden was 1 for 7. Your star guards, when they combined 2 for 13 in the most clutch situation of the entire season, all because they couldn't shake the hounding defense from Landry Shamet. I'm doing a mean thing to Landry Shamet there, but brother, come on. Dude, rewatching this fourth quarter this morning, it was shocking to me that Kenny Atkinson kept James Harden in the game. Every possession from the 8-minute mark was the same exact play from the Knicks. Whoever had Harden on them would go up top, set a screen for Jalen. They would switch every time without fail, and then Brunson would take James Harden to the rack, and they did that every single play. There was no adjustment from Kenny Atkinson. I'm sitting here today like, bro, you had Max Strus on the bench during that run. You had Keon Ellis on the bench during that run. Why not swap James Harden out? He's not doing anything for you on offense. The thought for Kenny is like, well, if he's giving up those 2 points on the defensive end every time, it's fine. We have a huge lead. We just have to score on offense to be able to keep the lead, which is logical thinking. And so obviously if you're going to go that play, then keeping James Harden in would work. But you weren't scoring. James Harden wasn't doing anything for you offensively. All he was a defensive liability. The fact they didn't sub him out and bring someone else in was crazy. They should play Harden for the first 3 quarters and then just sit him for the whole fourth. I mean, brother, they needed to do something, and he wasn't able to do a thing. I'm legit sick to my stomach for Cavs fans having to wake up this morning knowing that you should be 3 wins away from the finals. Your coach completely let you down in this game by leaving James Harden in, having no answer for the Jalen Brunson ISO. I watched Kenny Atkinson's post-game interview after the game, okay? His spirits were very high. He had a lot of confidence, and I was like, hey, this is a good look from the coach. And then he said one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, bro. And I speak constantly to you guys. I say the dumbest things in the world, but I did not say anything close to as dumb as what Kenny said last night. He literally claimed, the Knicks got a little bit lucky. Bro. The Knicks got a little bit lucky. He mentioned twice the Mikal Bridges threes. I watched both of those plays back. Yeah, the first one, the shot clock was winding down. It was a step back 3. He was open, though, and he's a great 3-point shooter. So, yeah, I expect him to make that shot. The second one, there's 15 seconds left on the clock. He was wide open in the corner, and he hit it. Unlucky? Yeah, Sam Merrill's shot at the end of the game went in and out. That was unlucky. There was a couple of moments here and there, sure. But the luck had nothing to do with the fact that you played James Harden for the entire fourth quarter when he was getting cooked the entire time by Jalen Brunson. He had a ton of confidence in his team and said he was proud of the guys. And although they played poorly in the fourth, he felt like the team was just a little unlucky. Hey, Kenny, this was not a case of the ball not bouncing your way. This was a case of your team running out of gas and you having no answers for them late in the game. The Oreo Football League. Let's go, bro. I'm joining. The worst part for me is that Knicks fans should have woken up this morning with hearts full of pain and suffering, and now they're streaking through Central Park screaming bing bong. The arrogance and entitlement of Knicks fans this playoff run has quickly skyrocketed them into my most hated fan bases, along with the Patriots, Packers, Celtics, and, of course, Yankees fans. This is the first time in my life that the New York Knicks have been legit title threats, yet every single soft-brained blue and orange-clad degenerate is parading around with their chest pumped so full of bravado, you would think the team is a dynasty going for their fourth in a row. They are one of the most illogical and arrogant fan bases in the world. They have become so accustomed to being bad that just the slightest sprinkle of success brings every fan to the streets to riot and scream like toddlers on a t-ball team. The only Knicks fan that deserves any sort of respect is Spike Lee, because he was there through the thick and through the thin. All of the rest of them can get out of my life. Except for Anne Hathaway. She can stay for other reasons. All of the NBA sucks guys who tuned in this week for the conference finals games, they ought to be eating their words this morning. All these lame white dudes and old school unks complain about the game and the fouls and the play style, yada, yada, yada. The amount of times someone has told me they cannot believe I watch basketball as much as I do is astounding. All the time. I cannot believe you watch the NBA. How do you watch that, bro? These two conference finals games have been legit the best 48 hours in the history of basketball. Watching Wemby do that to OKC, to hit that shot and close the game out, the end of the game was straight up cinema. I thought there was no way that Cavs and Knicks could come close to that. And then we got one of the most insane comebacks in the history of hoops. Basketball is just on fire right now, man. And we get more tonight as OKC and San Antonio head back out for Game 2. This series is off to an unbelievable start. Everyone expected this series to be great. As some are even saying it might be the greatest playoff series since LeBron versus Steph. However, great as we all thought it would be, not a single soul expected a double OT thriller in Game 1 that felt a lot more like a Game 7. A wise man once told me, no shot is a bad shot if it goes in. But man, oh man, seeing him pull up from 35 feet made my stomach do a front flip. To have the balls even to attempt that shot, then to hit that three, needing it to go to OT. Man, I don't know what else to say other than greatness. To highlight just how great that shot was, I wanted to pull up for you guys the call of that shot from the OKC official radio. So this is the OKC radio team, courtesy of the Dan Le Batard show with Stugotz. This is the call from the OKC. What am I saying? This is the call from the OKC radio team. That's what I meant to say. There we go.
Wemby has it, left wing Castle. Patrolling Wemby, leaning 30-foot three to tie is in there. 26.
That's the call on the Wemby shot. Is in there.
Here's the OKC call.
Wemby has it, left wing Castle. Patrolling Wemby, leaning 30-foot three to tie is in there. 26.3 to play.
It's one of the greatest calls in the history of sports, bro. It's so mundane. It's so quiet. You can hear, like, audibly the arena just go, ugh. Basketball was more boring when it was Cavs Warriors everywhere. We've had 7 different champs in 7 years. That is true.
Wemby has it, left wing Castle. Patrolling Wemby, leaning 30-foot three to tie is in there. 26.3.
It's in there. Bro, it's the least excitement I've ever heard someone have. It sounds much more like a high school broadcast doing their first game ever. No, actually, that guy would be way more excited to be broadcasting. That 16-year-old pimple-faced boy would be so stoked to be calling a game with excitement and exuberance on the tip-off. This was the biggest shot of the season. Not even a single ounce of excitement. He pulls up from 33 shots, it's in there. He pulls up from 30 feet, it's in there. It's good. Yeah, bro, is definitely a Thunder fan. Slade is getting paid by the Thunder. At least show a little bit of excitement. If I'm driving home listening to the game, I'm like, oh gosh, what is it? And it's like 30 feet. Oh man, what? Dang it, he tied it up with a 3. And then you go watch the play, and you're like, that was the play? Imagine just listening to that on the radio and then actually seeing the play. There's no bigger discrepancy in sports right now than that radio call to the actual moment of the shot, bro. Where am I? I wasn't sure. Great transition. I wasn't sure when the rest of the world was going to realize that the future GOAT of the NBA was standing before us. I thought maybe next year, if they win the title, the world will realize, Nah, it happened on Monday night, bro. All over sports media, I heard these talking heads flummoxed by the greatness of Victor Wembanyama. It was one thing to see him physically standing over everyone else, but the main thing is watching him do that and shoot threes and care the way he does and defend both of your best players and represent an entire country. And, oh yeah, he's also pretty good at blocking shots. The craziest thing about Wemby's greatness is that I started to hear a slight tinge of people feeling bad for the Thunder. Now listen, nobody said it out loud. Nobody was like, hey man, this is not cool. I feel bad for the Thunder. But I can tell when something is rumbling deep below the surface. And there was a lot of backroom chatter about Wemby being an unfair advantage. You heard it slightly. Throughout the entire playoffs, everyone's like, I hate this Thunder team. I hate this Thunder team. I hate this Thunder team. Just listen as the narrative slowly starts to change away from this Thunder team is OP, it's not fair what they're doing, to, hey, having Wembanyama is kind of a cheat code. That's where it's heading right now. That is exactly where it's going. People are starting to be Thunder apologists. Just know I will never be that. I'm anti-Thunder through and through. As a Laker fan, though, got to keep it a G. I am also anti-Spurs. I have to be. So watching this series is absolute torture for me. But, brother, it is good basketball. I don't think it's going to take long for people to start saying that having Wemby on the floor is an unfair advantage. Seriously. You will have sad fans and emotional analysts start claiming that Victor Wembanyama is a cheat code and him being out there is bad for the game of basketball. Home run from Ketel Marte. Gosh dang it! Ketel Marte, 2-run home run. He's on my fantasy bench, dude. I've been such a bad fantasy baseball manager. Ketel Marte hit a game-winning home run yesterday. Now he's a 2-run home run tonight. He had a walk-off yesterday. Now a 2-run home run tonight. Absolutely crushing. And he's sitting on my bench accumulating hundreds of points, doing nothing for my team. Like I said, a lot of people are going to be claiming Victor Wembanyama is a cheat code and that having him out there is bad for the game of basketball. Just to keep it clear, I did have this take about 2 months ago when I said that when the Spurs play Victor Wembanyama, they should only get 3 other guys on the floor, so they should only have 4 when Victor's out there, or he can only play with one hand. So I've already had that take. So when you hear it from other people, just know they copied TBWZ. The question, though, I want to answer, is Wemby good or bad for the game of basketball? Is Wembanyama good or bad for the game of basketball? Obviously, I think the positives are that he is passionate about playing. The positives are that he's passionate about playing the game and growing the sport around the world. He cares heavily about his city and wants to win not for himself, but also for the people of San Antonio and across America now. He is a max effort type player that even in an exhibition game like the All-Star game, he is always going to give his max effort. And above all else, he is a complete anomaly on the floor as we have never seen anything like him grace the game of basketball. The main con for Wemby is that, I have to burp in the middle of that. The main con for Wemby is that he is a complete anomaly on the floor as we have never seen anything like him tarnish the game of basketball. There is no real answer for a guy 5 inches taller than everyone else on the floor that can also handle the ball and can shoot threes from the logo and defend 2 guys at once and average 5 blocks a game. They are the only team in the league that has access to that kind of talent and skill set, and a bunch of people are going to start saying that the Spurs have an unfair competitive advantage with Wemby. That is the reason he might be... That, however, is not the reason that he might be bad for the game. The reason Victor Wembanyama might be bad for the game is because he's only 22 years old. He might be doing this legit for the next decade of our lives. I don't know any of you. If you just had a kid, you're like, woohoo, I have a kid. Oh, cool. They don't have to see LeBron and Steph every year like I did when I was a child. Oh, cool. They just get to see Victor Wembanyama dominate and their team lose all the time. Ultimately, all of the guys who hate on the association are the ones that think everyone flops and load manages themselves and don't really care. Man, just pump the brakes, bro, because this dude absolutely cares. Wemby has put the league on notice. He is here to stay, and if you don't want to go out there and compete, you about to get worked, brother, because he is going to bring it every single night. He cares more about winning than I have seen in a star since maybe Kobe Bryant. And you got to believe that he is going to be winning a lot. Hectic. I mean, the Hornets will destroy the Spurs soon. Don't worry. That is true. The Hornets, unfortunately, were the number 2 pick in the Wemby draft. I can't imagine a sadder situation to be in. Seeing Victor Wembanyama dominate. The juxtaposition between the Hornets fans, like, so happy that they won a play-in game. Like, dude, we won a play-in game against the Heat, bro. Hey, we're on the rise. Oh, hey, Cotton Nipple's pretty good. Hey, Lonzo Ball. Hey, man. Hey, my Brady. Carver. They're all stoked on their team, and then they have to sit here and now watch Wemby and be like, man, we were one pick away from getting them. You know it's completely rigged that he's in San Antonio, first of all. Here are the last 3 first overall picks for the city of San Antonio. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Victor Wembanyama. Just like, they're all Hall of Famers. It's crazy. I don't even know why San Antonio. Why them? Like, what is it with San Antonio? Do they have just the best owner of all time? Like, what? I know it's a franchise that is rooted in greatness and has a history of success and winning. Why San Antonio? Why do they get the rig job? Did you know the Rockets and Spurs had a coin flip for Wemby? What does that even mean? It was for the first pick? What does that even mean, Oreo? Hornets lost on AD, Wemby, Shea, and Kobe. It's true. Hornets, every year they've picked 2. Like, the guy that goes 1 was just like the most unbelievable talent in basketball. It's very, very sad. Very tough for Charlotte. I think Adam Silver in the NBA, stemming back to David Stern, just hates Charlotte. Bro, he knew what he was doing when he gave Michael Jordan the Hornets. He was like, yeah, this is going to go well. Here you go, MJ. You know what's crazy? I'm getting all these Angels fans mad at me for my take on Artie Moreno. He bought the team for $180 million in 2003. $180 million. How crazy is it that in 23 years, the valuation has gone from $180 million to like $1.8 billion? How... It's just the evaluation on these franchises is just so unbelievable. It used to be like this thing that like, hey, every kind of like super successful multi big time millionaire was like, I could kind of run maybe and get a team. Bro, you could make $500 million in your lifetime and not even be able to be close to buying a franchise now. They had a 50-50 chance for the best odds and did a coin flip and lost. The Rockets did. That coin flip was not fair, brother. I promise you that right now. Charlotte is cursed because the ancient Cherokee rituals keep the city from being good. Huh. We have some ancient burial talk going on in the TBWZ chat. What else would you want on your beautiful Sports Wednesday? Wemby is a star ascending to greatness, brother, on his way to a long and fruitful career. Just like Aaron Rodgers, who has announced he will be hanging up the cleats after this season. Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter were making out. I don't know. They were hooking up. And we just got the announcement this morning that Aaron Rodgers is going to be retiring after the 2026 season. I'm actually having a rough time right now. Kobe and Shea were drafted and traded. That is true. Kobe did not want to play in Charlotte. Here's the toughest part for the Charlotte Hornets, right? They got the number 2 overall pick when Wemby went 1. They got the number 2 when Duncan went 1. They had Kobe and traded him. They had Shea and traded him. They've had some really, really tough luck with the lottery, specifically talking about the talent that has gone before their pick. I do not think any of those guys would have been successful, though, if they stayed in Charlotte. we could talk about, like, oh, if the Hornets had Wemby, they would be... No, I think they would still suck. Just something about it. And I'm not trying to be mean to Charlotte Hornets fans. I think you're one of the better fan bases in the NBA, to be completely honest. I also think Charlotte is a great town. I love it there. One of the best comedy clubs in America is in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Comedy Zone. Shout out to Tina. Tina's the security guard there. She's awesome. I don't think any of those players would have done anything with Charlotte. You know, we could sit there and be like, wow, well, imagine if Kobe stayed in Charlotte and didn't get traded to the Lakers. Man, we would have been so good. We would have won NBA championships. No, you wouldn't have. You're still the Charlotte Hornets. Kobe had success in L.A. because he was in L.A. I think Wemby's as successful as he is because he's in San Antonio. Mitch Johnson's the head coach, right? But we know Greg Popovich is still out there running things. Pop is still calling a lot of shots. He's still at practice. He's still developing talent. A huge reason Victor is the way that he is right now is because he is in San Antonio. I think he owes as much of his game to San Antonio as San Antonio owes him. That didn't make any sense at all. The Hornets are on the rise. Con Knippel will be Klay Thompson. Hectic, I hear you, brother. I cannot imagine a situation where a team wins the NBA Finals with LaMelo Ball as their best player. He's very, very fun to watch. Very, very fun. He's exciting. I love LaMelo Ball. I think he can shoot from anywhere. He's a solid player. Come on. He's just not serious. I love the idea. Like, this sports show is like a non-serious sports show. It's about having fun and talking ball with your homies and hanging out and building a cool community. But, what? LaMelo Ball is just so unserious. Look at every great leader of a franchise. None of them act like LaMelo. I don't think LaMelo wants to be the leader of the franchise. I'm not putting blame on him. I don't know if a lot of people are even asking him to do that. But that is a team that clearly does not have like a true vocal leader, in my opinion. If you could keep Con Knippel and LaMelo Ball and get a player that's better than both of them, I mean, that would be awesome. But ultimately, I think I would rather keep Brandon Miller and Bridges together with Con Knippel and trade LaMelo Ball for a better piece. That Hornets team is a legit Eastern Conference threat if they trade LaMelo Ball for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is here soon. Trust me, there he is. Our offensive rating drops off a cliff when he subs out. LaMelo keeps that offensive line alive. Yeah, I mean, one of the most underrated parts of his game is his passing and his ability to create offense for other people around him. He has a ton of gravity. A lot of people pull his way. I cannot seriously look at the way he acts and the way he plays and be like, that is enough to be the best player on a championship team. What it is like, if he's your best player, I'm pretty sure you're like a fringe play-in team or like maybe a 6 seed that sneaks in or a 5 seed that can maybe win a series. You know, Con Knippel disappeared in that last play-in game. He disappeared in both play-in games, to be completely honest with you, but I think that Charlotte team is super, super fun. I'm very excited about the prospect of Cockbrenner and Moose and Brandon Miller and Con Knippel. I think it's a really fun team, a team that's on the rise 1,000,000%. I don't know if I can sit here and fully say that LaMelo Ball is enough to be the best player on a championship team. Knippel hit the rookie wall. He hit something, brother, and it was not good. It was tough to watch, bro. It was. And I'm really high on the Hornets. I do like that team. I'm high on the Hornets and the Jazz, which is just so stupid. Like, what's happening right now, and I don't have notes on this, I'm just going to go off, but seeing what's happening in the Western Conference, with the way the Spurs and OKC are set up and the way they're established for the future, and the way how young their stars are, how good their teams already play. If I was a superstar and my goal was to win championships, I would not be trying to go west. We had the Utah Jazz tank for the past 3 seasons to accumulate talent and be able to have a shot at making a run. I don't know how you could imagine the next 10 years in the Western Conference going, aside from OKC and the Spurs getting to the Western Conference Finals every year. As a team in the West, you're going to have to go through both of them to get to the finals. There will not be a situation when you just have to beat one. You're going to have to play both of those teams. We were doing a lot of talk about LeBron James, and I've sat here and said that the best option for LeBron, and the thing that he probably wants more than anything, is to be near his family. It's to stay in LA. So that's either play for the Lakers again or sign something with the Clippers, which would be just crazy for the Clippers. But if anyone's going to sign a vet minimum and play with the play with the team, you'd play with the Clippers, because you know Steve Ballmer's going to circumnavigate the salary cap to make it happen and get you over there. If your goal is to win rings, it's impossible for me to think that you should go to the West. Oreo said it right now. The only possibility for another team to reach that mountaintop in the Western Conference in the next decade would be injuries to OKC or to the Thunder. That's kind of how the Mavs did it. When the Lakers and the Spurs were doing this, there was a 12-season stretch where the Western Conference was represented in the finals by either the Spurs or the Lakers. That's kind of what we're getting right here. It's kind of setting up to, looking at the landscape of the league. First of all, I think the league is in a very, very good spot. I keep dropping my pen. Little base hit from Susac. Advances the man to third. Little first and third, no outs. Merrill Kelly still on the bump. 54 pitches in, top 4. I have a team in the West. And it hurts my heart to see these two teams play basketball. It really does. I want to have hope for the Lakers, right? If you're a Golden State fan, you're like, wow, dude, what if LeBron comes to Golden State and we run it back with Steph and LeBron, dude? We're going to be so good. Not good enough, though. Matt Ishbia was like, we are keeping Devin Booker. Devin Booker is good enough to be the best team on a championship team. Maybe 5 years ago. Not anymore. Not when those two teams are sitting there. And I hear all of the, the Thunder aren't going to be this good for that long because they're going to have to re-sign all of their talent. They can't afford to keep all of these guys around. You know what they can afford to do is trade these guys before they sign big contracts for first-round picks and then hit on those picks. I have not seen Sam Presti miss on a pick yet. He always gets great talent in the draft. And Dagnon, that coaching staff, is incredible at developing talent. That is a well-oiled machine over there. SGA is 28 years old. So, yeah, at the decade mark, Wemby will be 32 and SGA will be 38. You're like, I don't know if that's blah, blah, blah. Hey, J-Dub is still sitting there. AJ Mitchell is still sitting there. Chet is still quite young. But it's not about the stars that they have now that make me think that the Thunder are going to be here for a long time. It's the fact that they still have picks and they still have talent on their bench, this lottery talent that isn't even playing any minutes because their team is that good and they have so much depth. When you do not miss in the draft and you're elite at developing talent, you're going to be good forever. Zach, did you see the team list from the OFL in the Discord? I have no idea what that is. No clue. I am hopeless. I'm hopeless. The Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic, he's up for a contract extension in June, right? June 1st is when kind of that stuff is going to start, I think. Or later June, but he's up for a contract extension with the Denver Nuggets. And if he signs it, it's a 4-year, $290 million contract that pays him $72 million a year. That's like a really, really cool contract when you consider that Jokic is like the best player in the league. But I think it's the dumbest thing you could possibly do, considering the fact that OKC and the Thunder are sitting, or OKC and the Spurs are sitting right there. What can you build around a $72 million a year type player that's going to compete with those two teams? Top line talent is not going to get it done against the Thunder or the Spurs. It's not. It's depth. It's having so much talent that you could overwhelm them. The Timberwolves are not going to be able to build a team around Anthony Edwards to compete with that. The Lakers will not be able to build a team around Luka Doncic to be able to compete with that. The biggest competitive advantage that you could have in football is having a quarterback on a rookie deal. Or you had a situation like with Sam Darnold where he was making $20 million, right? Most cases, your highest paid player is your quarterback, right? So when you have a guy on a rookie contract, you're able to build a team around them. That's why the Chiefs were so good the first 5 years of Pat Mahomes' career, because he was still on a rookie scale deal. Right when he signed for like a $60 million a year deal, we saw the team kind of drop off, and he now has to start playing hero ball all the time. Because they simply just don't have enough money to go around to fill those rest of the roster out. I have a horrible thought. It's the Oreo Football League. What's up, dude? That's so sick. All the teams because there are no real NFL teams? Okay, that's so sick. Creativity, I love it. We're going to check it out in just a second. The idea for those three teams specifically, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Lakers, you have a superstar talent at the top, right? You have a pedigree of winning. I think you have good front offices and good coaching. You've had success. You've been on the doorstep of the championship for a long time now. That window's closed. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, that window is closed. Anthony Edwards is a Georgia boy through and through. He played basketball at Georgia. He was born in Atlanta. He's going to be a Hawk. Anthony Edwards is going to sign with the Atlanta Hawks once his contract extension is up because Anthony Edwards' goal is to win championships. He's a winner. It's so obvious to me when you watch him play basketball, his goal is to win. And that's what he wants more than anything. And women, but having 100 kids. If Anthony Edwards' goal is to win championships, it's not going to be done in the West. You have to go east. When LeBron was doing his thing with the Miami Heat and then with the Cavs, when LeBron went to 8 finals in a row, all of the talent in the East moved west because they saw what was happening there and they're like, I don't have a shot at winning over here. I'm going to go west. Plus West Coast, best coast. If your goal is to win championships, it's going to be a lot easier to do it in the Eastern Conference than it is going to be in the Western Conference. That is straight up. Right now, we're looking at the West and like, dude, the gauntlet of the Western Conference, bro. It's such a good conference. It's so much more talented than it is in the East. That is not going to be a thing 4 or 5 years from now. Steph Curry is going to run it back with Steve Kerr this season in Golden State. I don't care who you put on that team. Jimmy Butler fully healthy. Draymond Green vintage performance. Put LeBron James on that team. Surround them with shooters. Surround them with defense. That team is not doing anything against the Spurs or against OKC. If you're a fan of a team in the West, I legit think like your hope is shot in this one. It's just tough. It's almost as tough of trying to decide what Aaron Rodgers' legacy is going to be. Aaron Rodgers, 7 years ago, was coming off an MVP, a tragic playoff loss. We were looking at Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people were calling him the most talented quarterback to ever exist. Watching him throw the football still to this day gives me goosebumps. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks that we have ever seen. And then COVID happened, and he went full ayahuasca trip, like stargazing, hippie, darkness retreat. So many weird things. He had the weird immunization thing where he lied about getting the COVID vaccine. He's completely estranged from his family. He hasn't talked to them in years. Like divorces and drug use and very, very strange things that he said in the media. Spewing conspiracy theory. Aaron Rodgers over the past 5 years has completely tanked his stock that the world had in him. We used to revere Aaron Rodgers. We're being like, dude, what? Oreo, I got to talk to you about you being a Spurs fan, though, because it's not adding up right now. It's not adding up, and it's starting to really piss me off. I think Oreo became a Spurs fan after they picked Wemby 1-1. If that's not the case, I feel so bad. Or I love you through and through, though. Since 2021, there it is. Aaron Rodgers was going to be remembered as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever exist. And now I think I'm going to remember him as a complete kook. The biggest thing I've seen him do, like the most outstanding thing I remember from Aaron Rodgers over the past 5 years is tearing his Achilles tendon holding the American flag. On 9/11. I feel bad for the guy, to be completely honest with you. I do. I really feel bad for Aaron Rodgers, man. I think he had such a great Q score with the world. And it just ate at him. I don't think he wanted to be a name in the lights guy. I don't think he wanted to be an example. I don't think he was out here trying to set any sort of stage for people. Be like, hey, look, this is what it's like to be a quarterback in the NFL, to be a good person. Because he's not. I would venture to say that most people think Aaron Rodgers is not a good guy. I'm excited to like see what happens with the remainder of this season, but I can't imagine anything good is going to happen. The only thing I could possibly think, the only angle that I could think about of Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers, right? Because we've talked about what the Steelers' needs are. The Steelers' needs are to be bad and draft a quarterback high in the first round next year because of all the talent that's coming from the college football. Having Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback will make your team better than if it was Will Howard. So, if the goal is to lose and get a high draft pick, playing Aaron Rodgers, it's just not adding up. Until I think about this. Aaron Rodgers is purely signing with the Steelers. So, the Steelers can trade Aaron Rodgers in the middle of the season to a contending team whose quarterback gets hurt. Because we see it every year. Last year Joe Burrow got turf toe week 2 or 3. They hopped on the phone and got Joe Flacco over there very, very quick to try to save their season. You're going to see a situation this year where a quarterback gets hurt in the first 4 games of the season on a championship contending type team. The first call that team is going to make is to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The second one is probably to the Raiders to see if they can go get Kirk Cousins. Maybe the third is to the Falcons to see if they can get Tua or Penix. I have no idea who's going to be starting over there. But ultimately, I think Aaron Rodgers signed with the Steelers on this 1-year deal as a little bit of ha-ha, hoo-hoo, because they're planning on trading him to whatever team needs a quarterback after theirs gets hurt week 2. It's beneficial for both teams, too, because they can go and get a 5th or 4th round pick for Aaron Rodgers. It's like a, hey, little handshake thing. Thanks for the time here. I'm on my way out now. Here's a pick. Oreo reached a 90-stream streak. Wow! 90 streams in a row for Oreo the cat, man. That is dedication. That is straight up. Now tell me, do you really want to love? It could be to the Chiefs 4 Fields. That's true. That's another one, Oreo. Those are. I do think the Chiefs are not going to be moving on from Justin Fields, though. I think because they're a contending team themselves, and they want to have their good backup quarterback in case their quarterback goes down, right? I think if it was, it would be one of those non-contending, non-competitive teams. Like I named the Raiders, and I named the even the Cardinals. The Cardinals have Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew. If your quarterback goes down week 2, you're going to make a call to the Cardinals and be like, hey, what would it take for us to get Jacoby Brissett? But the number one option for said team, and I hate to wish injury on anybody. I'm not wishing it. I'm just saying it does happen every single year. A quarterback gets hurt in the first 3 weeks, and it's like, that was a Super Bowl team. Now the season's shot. It happened with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow last year, and neither of those teams really were able to recover. They both missed the playoffs. It's so important to be able to have a quarterback to replace your guy if he gets hurt. I think Aaron Rodgers is purely in Pittsburgh right now as a little handshake, hoo-ha, a little wank-wank, jomp-jomp with Mike McCarthy and the Steelers to be like, hey, I'm going to play football for you guys, but I want to play for a contender. It's my last season, so when the time comes, please trade me to that team that's asking. And they're going to do it. I think there's a good opportunity that we see Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs next year, but not for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think there's a really, really good chance that Aaron Rodgers does not finish the season as a Pittsburgh Steeler. I think it'd be good for him. I would hate to see his last season just be wasted away on like a mediocre 5-12 team and that misses the playoffs. And he's like, all right, cool, bye. Sail off into retirement. I can almost guarantee his last game will not be with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they have Nussmeier. There we go. The Chiefs have Nussmeier. There you go, bro. We forgot about Nussmeier. How could we? How could I forget about Grant Nussmeier, bro? I'm so excited about college football, dude. I think I might be more excited about college football than I am about the NFL. Well, first of all, it comes faster. Pause. It shows up quicker. It's earlier in the schedule, so it's like the next thing up is college football. I'm excited about that. I'm just excited for Saturdays, dude. I'm excited to flip on my TV. I usually set an alarm for like 9 a.m. That's when the games start at 9 a.m. on the West Coast. Kind of tough. I usually set my alarm for like 10, right? And so when I wake up, it's like halftime of Big Noon Kickoff. It's like, it's Iowa and Penn State, and it's 3-7, and it's halftime, and I'm like, here we go. I get a little bit of coffee, read my Bible, do a little bit of journaling, and just watch some football and just slowly drift away into my couch and just sit there and supplant myself like the bug that I am, absorbing the football. I'm like a moth around a light, bro, when football is on. I am there for it. I'm buzzing, dude. I'm here to watch the game. It's now 3-3 as Arizona was able to scrap a run in the bottom of the fourth. Now top 5. Merrill Kelly's still out there pitching good back, pitching well. I'm more excited for OFL Season 1. Luis Arias flies out. Let's check these out from Oreo the Cat. These are the team names for the Oreo Football League that he is starting in Madden. Unfortunately, Oreo, I deleted Madden 26 last night. Literally, or 2 nights ago. And so, I just passed my social studies final with 96%. Let's go, brother. I'm out here. I'm so down to celebrate grades, dog. Getting good grades is hard to do. I'm stoked for Oreo the Cat. I'm stoked for you, brother. Where is it? Is it in Madden? All right. In case you guys want to join, Oreo the Cat has made his own Madden 26 Fantasy Football League. It's not a bad band in the college football one either. It's called the OFL. There are 0 real teams in it, and there will be a fantasy draft. I would like to do the draft tonight, but I need people tonight. Slade said, I'm down. The different teams are the Axers. Okay. Those are guys who throw axes. Love it. The Bananas, Savannahs. The Knights. That was my high school team was the Knights. We are loyal Knights of Foothill. Raise our colors black and gold. The Knights and the Woodland Knights. There might be a bit of a rivalry here between the Knights and the Woodland Knights. The Dire Wolves, we're getting straight got. Lightning Owls is solid. Nighthawks is dope. Stallions, the Depths. I love this. We do a lot of depth talk on TBWZ, widescreen radio. We do depth talk, in-depth talk. In-depth depth talk with your host, Zeke Veenie. The Vultures is good. Sharks is good. The Squirrels, only one I don't like. Red Raiders, Texas Tech. Ravens, the Orbit. Orbit is kind of hard, dude. The Water Buffaloes, love it. Slade is the Wildcats, okay. The Blue Jays, I like it for the NFL. The Mountaineers is fun. The Beats is great. Just the Beats. Rafael Devers off the wall. It'll be a 2-out double for Rafael Devers. He is on my fantasy team. The Desperados, the Eagles, the White Wolves. The Bobbies is hilarious. Bunch of dudes named Bob. Bobby Okereke, got to be on that team. The Flight, the Swords, the Hounds. The Neon Thunders. I mean, the Z is not cool here. I think just Neon Thunder would be cooler. Some have the same names as real teams, but aren't. I'll update this as we get more members. Unbelievable stuff. Wow. 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 If you guys are not doing anything, you do want to show up for the OFL and be a part of this thing. It's the Ravens, but not the Ravens. Oh. Got you. Got you. I think I remember what you were saying. If you want to join Oreo's Football League, join our Discord. Take Back With Zac. If you hop over on Twitch and you ask for a link to the Discord, or if you pop over in the YouTube chat, Oreo the Cat or I will send you a link to said Discord so you can be a part of this thing and hang out with us off show hours. I'm going to be going live right now on TikTok. And those heathens over there are going to be nasty and mean and rude. We're going to open up the phone lines once we do that, and we're going to start taking calls and talking balls. But before that, I'm going to take a 5-minute